Hello, I'm Matt Broughton for Game On, and I'm joined today by Justin Cosnett, the Chief Product Officer at Cosnett. Justin, thanks very much for your time today.
No problem at all.
So you've recently announced the launch of your public cloud solution in Gibraltar. What can you tell us about the product?
We've had a public cloud product in Cosnett since about 2015. We first launched one in Isle of Man and Malta, using some existing infrastructure we had. We wanted to kind of test the market, really, see whether customers, there was a customer area there for cloud. It was more for kind of startups and smaller customers, but it grew pretty quickly. So we upgraded it in 2017 into a kind of premium product, a kind of VMware hyper-converged infrastructure stack for customers to put, their primary gaming applications stack and database on. In 2018, we got authorized in Malta to use that cloud for regulated gaming. And then in 2019, we became the only regulated cloud provider for Atlantic City via the Division of Gaming Enforcement. So that, combined with a kind of compliant offsite backup, meant that we had a kind of unique offering. So we wanted to kind of bring that to Gibraltar, really, see whether we could expand in Gibraltar and in Colombia. And this year we've launched both those.
The press release talks about the product being launched in Gibraltar as a response to changing market conditions and the demand for innovation in infrastructure. Why do you think that's the case in that particular location?
I mean, we recognise the demand for kind of cloud and hybrid services in pretty much all locations. Gibraltar's not unique from that. It is an ideal kind of platform for scale, or for new projects or migration work for customers who are kind of on existing colo or large infrastructure bases. We've got certain operators that are looking to kind of manage less infrastructure and more applicational data. When you have a jurisdiction like Gibraltar right now that's obviously looking to kind of encourage and foster more of a gaming capability, maybe add more licensees and operators into the environment. A cloud really is quite a good starting point or launching pad for a startup or a new to jurisdiction operator. It means they can get in with lower capital expenditure and grow and test their kind of offering before they kind of go live or even launch and grow into being a bigger, maybe larger operator on its own dedicated infrastructure.
And speaking more generally, I mean, what are the advantages of the cloud and that's made it so successful in other jurisdictions globally?
Okay, so I think I kind of mentioned obviously the cost aspect, which is quite important. It doesn't mean that there aren't, still some costs involved when it comes to cloud, but there's a lot less capital expenditure involved. Obviously, you can go live and really kind of pay for what you use rather than pay for a large set of infrastructure that then has to be able to cope with growth in demand and growth in requirements. Sportsbook obviously is one of the most burstable kind of environments, and many years ago customers would have to build environments that could scale not just for 3 years or 5 year lifespans of the equipment, but could rapidly increase for massive sporting events, whether they be horse racing, footballing events, or now in the US obviously you've got NFL and so on and so forth. So those events mean that you can scale up in a cloud. That's why it's been really successful, as I say, especially in sports. But it's also good from a development environment perspective. Customers can set up and destroy environments. They can upgrade environments. They have a reduced cost to kind of use something and then get rid of it again, rather than try and constantly run infrastructure all the time. So it gives them a kind of swift capability. In jurisdictions where we operate, it means that, as I said, anyone coming new to that jurisdiction, they've got a kind of swift capability. They can deliver quickly, go to market quickly, and then grow. There's an operational cost reduction, I suppose, as well. So again, I know it's kind of all sounds cost, but there's no requirement to have operational staff managing your infrastructure that are looking after the as we used to call it, the tin or the compute and the storage. And it can, if it comes as ours does with a kind of inclusive backup capability, and you can connect it to your existing infrastructure or infrastructure you have around the world, or even infrastructure you might have in your corporate environment. It means you can really run it in a kind of hybrid environment, or across a large wide area network, effectively around the globe. And you can connect it to hyperscale cloud as well. So no, we're not closed off to that. You can run a cloud environment in Gibraltar, for example, with C8, with your kind of primary gaming environment requirements there, but connected to a hyperscale provider like an AWS or a Google or an Azure. So it kind of gives you that edge in a jurisdiction that you need, that capability with the least amount of friction to kind of the business to get set up.
Well, thanks for taking us through that, and thanks again for your time today.
No worries. Thanks.
I'm Matt Broughton for Game On.